Hey there, lads and ladies of the internet, listen. I hope you're ready for to get figgy, cause today we're fit to welcome a foxy figgy flame into our already frighteningly overflowing faction of photosynthetic friends. So if you're ready to learn how to keep Kadota fig trees in containers and fit as fucking fiddles, then stick the around, cause we fit to get into all that shit. Hey there, I'm Smith Kingston, houseplant guru extraordinaire. Joining us today we have Thomas Baker, Toby McSchmuter, and the strikingly attractive Lady Space Cowgirl. Alrighty lads and ladies, a little bit later we're gonna get this freshly acquired figgy new friend out of this nursery pot and into something a little bit more, well, comfortable. But first, we need to have a little chat about how to keep these figgy little trees happy. This plant is known commonly as Kadota Fig tree and known scientifically as Ficus carica Kadota. They produce big, beautiful leaves and lots of sweet little greenish yellow fruit that are very popular for canning. The Kadota fig tree is native to the Mediterranean and parts of Western Asia, where for the most part, the winters are pretty mild and the summers are hot. Okay, like for real. Like pretty fucking hot. These trees can be planted outdoors directly into the ground in places with similar climates, but hey, listen, Wanda. Okay, if you're like me and you live somewhere with a climate that's a little bit different, that's okay. You can still keep a Kadota, just not, directly in the ground. Now, Kadota fig trees are deciduous, and once they've gone dormant, they are cold hardy down to around 15 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you live somewhere where there is really any chance at all for temperatures to fall below that level, then I recommend fixing your figgy friend in the following fashion. So yeah, the tools necessary for the following frivolities are a magical paintbrush, a container, some regular all-purpose potting mix, something sharp, a classy vintage bowl, and a trowel. Shh. Alrighty then, without further ado, let's get figgy with it.
Oh my god, that's such a little bit.
Now, as soon as you've freed your figgy friend from its frightfully unflattering nursery flat, you'll want to check to see if the roots are root bound. Luckily for us, the roots seem pretty, unbound, so we're not going to need the something sharp that we gathered earlier, so that's cool. Alrighty, it's time to get this figgy friend potted into its new home. Now, unlike the vast and unending plethora of succulents that you may or may not have seen me pot in the other videos on this channel, this fig tree is an actual tree. So we don't want to bury the root system too deeply, nor do we want it to be too close to the surface. We're going to need to be careful to ensure that the junction where the base of the tree meets the root ball is right at the surface of the soil, and also that the surface of the soil is between 1.5 to 2 inches below the brim of the container. We're going to achieve this by adding soil to the container below the tree a little at a time until everything lines up at exactly the right height. Okay, now let's pack some potting mix around the edges of the plant. Okie dokie, now that our foxy figgy friend has been potted, let's have a quick chat about container selection. This container is pretty much the perfect container for this particular fig tree, but depending on the size of your fig tree, you may end up needing a container that is a little bit bigger than this one. Really though, you just need to make sure that your container is large enough to accommodate your fig tree's root ball and has room for some additional growth down the road. Also, I highly recommend keeping your fresh potted friend on some casters if you end up potting it into a container that is any larger than this one. That way you'll be able to move it around much easier when it comes time to, overwinter it and shit. More important than anything though is that you pot your figgy friend into a container that is equipped with a drainage hole. You probably knew that already though. You don't seem like the kind of a stupid ass dumb shit who would do shit like f***ing around by potting any kind of a plant into a non-draining container. Jeez. Alrighty. Now, deciding where to keep your fig tree is going to vary depending on lots of factors, including where you live and also the time of year. This video is being filmed in the Northern Hemisphere in early July. So right now, I plan to keep this little figgy motherfucker outside in a spot that receives full sun. I will probably leave it in that spot all summer and into fall until it sheds its leaves and enters a state of dormancy. And then, after a couple of light freezes, I will move it indoors to an unheated and unlit garage. How did you know? Anyways, in there, this figgy friend will stay cold enough to remain dormant, but warm enough to be protected from any hard freezes. And then, in springtime, once most danger of frost has passed, we'll bring our foxy figgy friend back outside for another happy golden summer. I mean, yeah, but can we talk it over later? Do we gotta decide right this second? Now, compared to most other types of fig trees, a Kadota is fairly resilient when it comes to pests and diseases. But it is still a good idea to practice constant vigilance. As far as pests are concerned, most subterranean complications include nematodes and gophers. Though if your fig tree is potted into a container, you'll probably never end up dealing with either of those complications. Above ground though, even container kept fig trees are susceptible to a variety of borers and beetles, so it's good to always be on the lookout for such infestation. I recommend inspecting your fig tree for such multi-legged nemesis every time you water your plant, because with any kind of pest, but especially borers, it is much easier to fight that fight earlier rather than later. Soon, I plan on making a video all about dealing with the variety of fig tree infesting motherfuckers, so if you want to, you can check that out right up here. As far as watering these figgy friends is concerned, I plan on watering this little happy tree every time the top inch or so of soil in the container dries out. With fig trees, you don't ever want to let the soil in the container dry out completely, but you still want to be careful not to overwater them in order to avoid root rot, fungal infections, and other types of subterranean complications. And during winter, while this plant is dormant, we will give it a lot less water and probably only give it a little drink maybe once a week just to keep some moisture in the root ball. You know what? Let's keep it somewhere else. Anyways, listen. While most of my friends have names, I have yet to name this particular fig tree. I've got a couple ideas, but if you want to take a crack at naming this foxy figgy leafy showstopper, then leave a suggestion in the comments. And if the name fits, I'll make it official and give you a shout out on Instagram. Yeah, that's a great idea. Hey, listen, do you like bad graffiti, worse jokes, wacky macrame, and pretty good advice about taking care of your houseplants? Well then fucking subscribe. Thanks, Lady Space Cowgirl. That's right, click that notification bell too so you never miss a new video.